Have you ever found yourself trapped in a marriage that feels more like a prison than a partnership? A place where the love you once dreamed of has been replaced by pain, silence, and endless emotional exhaustion? You smile in front of others, but inside your heart is breaking a little more each day. You tell yourself things will change, but deep down you know you are drowning in something that's slowly destroying your peace, your hope, and maybe even your faith. If that sounds like you, stay until the end of this message, because this could change your life forever. And before we begin, type in the comments below these powerful words: I love Allah. Let your love for the Almighty shine through your pain. And let that small action remind you that no matter how dark your situation feels, you are not alone. Many people suffer silently in marriages that were meant to be sources of peace and comfort. They feel ashamed to talk about it, afraid of being judged, afraid of breaking the image of a perfect home. But what if I told you that Islam never wanted you to live in pain disguised as patience? What if this message opens your eyes to the truth you've been avoiding for too long? This might not just change your perspective, it might save your soul. Marriage, in its purest form, is supposed to be a place of mercy, love, and tranquility. The Qur'an beautifully describes this bond as one where spouses find comfort and affection in one another. But when that comfort turns into fear, when love turns into manipulation, and when your spirit begins to fade, it's time to pause and reflect. Because while patience is a virtue, enduring abuse is not a test that our Almighty Creator ever commanded you to accept silently. So let's start by understanding this truth. Not every hardship in marriage is meant to be endured forever. Some challenges are tests meant to strengthen you, while others are signs that you must protect yourself and your faith. Many people confuse endurance with faith, but faith also includes standing up for your dignity. The Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, said that the best of you are those who are best to their spouses. That means kindness, compassion, and respect should be the foundation of every marriage. If those are missing, the foundation is already shaking. But how does someone end up trapped? Often it begins with small things: disrespect disguised as jokes, control masked as care, silence mistaken for patience. You start excusing the behavior, telling yourself it's temporary. You fear the stigma of divorce. You worry what people will say. But while you stay silent, your heart slowly begins to die. Remember this: our Almighty Creator values your peace more than society's opinion. You were not created to be a doormat for someone's anger. You were created to be honored, cherished, and valued. Now, this doesn't mean you give up at the first argument or hardship. Every marriage has struggles. But when the struggle becomes abuse, whether emotional, verbal, or physical, when your mental and spiritual well-being are constantly crushed, that's not marriage anymore. That's suffering disguised as duty. Islam does not ask you to stay in pain that breaks you. Islam encourages reconciliation, effort, and understanding, but it also provides an honorable exit when all attempts fail. Divorce is not a sin, it is a mercy. When peace is no longer possible, let that sink in. The Lord of all, who created love itself, also created divorce as a form of protection, not as a curse, but as a way out when every door to peace has closed. This might shock you, but staying in a toxic marriage can sometimes distance you from your Creator, especially when it leads to despair, resentment, and neglect of your worship. How can your heart focus on prayer when it's constantly trembling in fear? How can you find peace in faith when every night ends in tears? If this message feels personal, it's because too many people are living it right now. They tell themselves maybe tomorrow will be better, but that tomorrow never comes. What if the Lord is waiting for you to finally take a step toward healing? What if this message found you for a reason, to remind you that your soul matters too? Sometimes we confuse silence with strength. We think being strong means enduring pain endlessly. But real strength is walking away when staying means destroying your heart and your connection with the Almighty. Remember, you are not weak for wanting peace. You are not faithless for wanting safety. You are not ungrateful for desiring happiness. You are human, and your soul deserves mercy too. Well, let's talk about the fear of leaving. Many people stay because they're afraid of loneliness, afraid of starting over, or afraid that no one else will understand them. But your Almighty Creator promises that whoever leaves something for His sake, He will replace it with something better. That means if you leave behind a toxic situation with sincere intention, you will not be left empty-handed. He will fill that void with something far greater: peace, clarity, strength, and maybe even new love built on truth. Do not let the fear of what people will say make you forget what your heart is screaming. People's opinions fade, but your relationship with your Lord is eternal. The same people who might judge you today will forget tomorrow, but the pain of staying in an unjust situation will linger for years. Your responsibility is not to please people, it is to protect your soul. Now, let's be honest. Sometimes a marriage becomes toxic not because one person is purely evil, but because both have forgotten the purpose of marriage itself. Ego, pride, and miscommunication poison what once was pure. If that's the case, then before walking away, try to rebuild. Seek counseling. Talk to trusted scholars. Pray together. Ask the Almighty for guidance, because sometimes, with humility and effort, broken hearts can heal. But if you've tried everything and the abuse continues, walking away might not be failure, it might be obedience to the one who loves you most. The Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, said that the most hated lawful thing to Allah is divorce. That does not mean it's forbidden. It means it should not be taken lightly. It should be the last resort after genuine effort, not the first reaction to conflict. But when peace, safety, and respect no longer exist, then it becomes an act of wisdom to separate rather than continue destroying one another's souls. And here's something you might have been doing wrong your whole life, thinking that your silence is saving your family. It's not. Children growing up in homes filled with anger, disrespect, or abuse learn those patterns. They carry those wounds into their futures. Saving your children sometimes means showing them courage, not endurance. It means showing them that Islam stands for justice, not oppression. As you listen to this message, ask yourself, are you surviving or truly living? Are you waiting for someone to rescue you, or will you finally trust your Lord enough to take the step He has placed in front of you? Sometimes the way out is not easy, but it is necessary. The Lord never abandons the brokenhearted. He hears the cries no one else hears. And He has already written your freedom in your destiny. You just need the courage to walk toward it. If you are in such a situation, do not stay silent. Reach out, seek help, talk to people you trust, pray sincerely, and never ever think that your life is over. Some endings are disguised beginnings. You may not see it now, but one day you will look back and realize that what felt like the end was actually the start of your healing. And if you're not the one trapped, but you know someone who is, do not judge them. Support them. Remind them that the Almighty sees their pain. Be the voice of compassion they need, not another burden of shame. Because sometimes a single word of kindness can save a soul. Before we end this message, I want you to pause and reflect. Think about your situation, your peace, and your relationship with the Lord of all. And if this message spoke to your heart, type these words in the comments. I love Allah. Fill the section with love and light. And if you are struggling, share your story or your prayer for peace.